Life is full of distractions, competing demands, and obligations, yet so much of it passes us by unnoticed because we never stop to truly examine how we spend our time. The first step to reclaiming your life and moving toward meaningful success is to take a hard, honest look at the chaos that surrounds you. This is not an easy task. It requires courage, self-reflection, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths about yourself and your habits. However, without this initial confrontation, you'll remain stuck in patterns of wasted time and unfulfilled potential. Start by observing your day-to-day activities. Where does your time actually go? It might seem obvious. You work, you spend time with family, you run errands, but if you were to write it all down, every single hour of a day or week, you'd likely uncover a far messier picture. Perhaps you spend hours mindlessly scrolling through your phone, jumping from one app to another. Maybe you tell yourself you're taking a break from work, but those breaks stretch into hours of procrastination. Even well-meaning activities, like checking emails or tidying up, can become tools of avoidance if they're not aligned with your larger goals. To take inventory of your chaos, you must begin with brutal honesty. Sit down with a notebook, an app, or even just a scrap of paper and track how you're spending your time. Don't judge yourself yet, just observe. Write down everything: how long you spend eating meals, commuting, chatting with friends, or watching TV. If you catch yourself wasting time on social media or aimlessly browsing the internet, jot that down too. The goal isn't to shame yourself, but to create a clear, accurate picture of where your hours are going. Once you've done this, patterns will start to emerge. You might notice that you spend far more time on unproductive activities than you realized. Maybe you lose entire evenings watching shows you're not even that interested in, simply because it's easier than engaging with your responsibilities. Or perhaps you notice that your mornings are consumed by chaotic rushing because you don't prepare the night before. These patterns are your chaos, and seeing them laid bare can be both sobering and empowering. This process will also reveal the gap between how you think you spend your time and how you actually do. Many people overestimate the time they devote to productive or meaningful activities. For example, you might believe you're working hard toward a project, but when you analyze your day, you realize only a small fraction of it is spent on focused, intentional work. This gap is where your untapped potential lies. Taking inventory is not just about identifying where your time is wasted. It's about recognizing the habits and mindsets that enable this waste. Ask yourself why certain distractions are so appealing. Are you avoiding difficult tasks because they're uncomfortable? Are you filling your time with trivial activities because you're afraid of failure or rejection? Chaos thrives on avoidance and a lack of clarity. By confronting these underlying reasons, you begin the process of dismantling them. This practice of taking inventory doesn't have to stop at time management. Look at your physical environment too. Is your workspace cluttered? Are your living spaces disorganized? Physical chaos often mirrors mental chaos. Cleaning up your surroundings can be a symbolic first step toward creating the order you need in your life. Ultimately, this step is about reclaiming agency over your choices. It's about recognizing that your time is your responsibility. If your days are chaotic, it's not because life is inherently uncontrollable. It's because you haven't yet chosen to bring order to them. The act of taking inventory is itself an act of power. It's saying, I will no longer let life happen to me. I will decide how I spend my time, my energy, and my attention. Once you've done this inventory, you're no longer blind to the forces that pull you away from what matters. You have a clear starting point, a map of your current state. From there, you can begin the work of restructuring your days, aligning your actions with your values, and moving toward a life of purpose. Taking inventory is not a one-time event. It's a habit. Periodically revisit it to ensure you stay on track. adapting as needed. The clarity you gain from this process is the foundation for everything that follows. Without it, you're building your life on shaky ground. With it, you have the power to bring order to chaos and transform your time into something truly meaningful. To prioritize with clarity is to approach your life with intention, making deliberate choices about where to focus your time and energy. It's about understanding that you cannot do everything, nor should you attempt to. Our culture often pushes us to multitask and juggle multiple commitments, but this only leads to burnout and dissatisfaction. True success comes not from spreading yourself thin, but from having the discernment to focus on the few things that really matter. To prioritize effectively, you must first understand what's truly important to you. This means going beyond superficial desires and considering the values that should guide your decisions. These values may be personal, professional, or spiritual. They are the core principles that define who you are and the kind of life you want to lead. Without clarity about your values, you'll chase after fleeting goals that don't align with your deeper purpose, resulting in wasted energy and frustration. Once you've defined your values, it's time to start making hard choices. You will need to evaluate each task, obligation, and opportunity that comes your way through the lens of these values. Ask yourself, does this align with my long-term goals? Is this a priority? Or is it simply something that sounds good in the moment? Not everything that demands your attention deserves it. Many distractions masquerade as opportunities, pulling you away from what you truly need to focus on. At this point, it's crucial to understand the concept of trade-offs. Every decision involves choosing one thing at the expense of another. When you commit time to a project or relationship, you're simultaneously deciding not to commit that time elsewhere. This can be uncomfortable, especially when you have to say no to things that seem appealing or that others may expect of you. However, saying no is one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal. By declining to take on unnecessary tasks, you free yourself to focus on what will truly move the needle forward in your life. A practical approach to prioritization is the concept of the 80/20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. This rule states that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. If you're looking to make real progress, you need to identify those few high-impact activities that will yield the most significant results. These are the tasks that align with your core values and will help you achieve your most important goals. Focus on these and don't get bogged down by the countless lesser tasks that clutter your schedule. Prioritization also requires the ability to say no with conviction. This is often one of the most challenging aspects of prioritizing, especially if you're someone who feels the need to please others or be everywhere at once. It's important to remember that saying no doesn't mean you're rejecting people or opportunities. It simply means that you are choosing to honor your time and focus on what truly matters. Saying no is an act of self-respect and self-preservation. Another aspect of prioritizing with clarity is understanding that not all priorities are equal. Some tasks or commitments may need to be handled immediately, while others can be postponed or delegated. Learning to differentiate between urgent and important tasks is crucial. Urgent tasks often create a sense of pressure or stress, but they are not always the most important in the long run. Important tasks, on the other hand, are those that contribute to your personal growth, long-term success, and the fulfillment of your values. Distinguishing between these two can be the key to staying focused on what matters and avoiding unnecessary stress. It's also worth noting that priorities change over time. As you grow and evolve, so too will your values and goals. Periodically reassess what's most important to you. What once seemed like a top priority may no longer serve your greater purpose. Be flexible enough to adjust your focus as your life changes, but be steadfast in your commitment to living with intention. The process of prioritization isn't always easy, and it's one that requires discipline and patience, but the clarity you gain from prioritizing will pay off in more meaningful accomplishments, greater fulfillment, and a life that feels more in control. Rather than being tossed about by the demands of others or the whims of distraction, you become the architect of your own destiny, making conscious decisions that align with your most important values and long-term goals. In this way, prioritizing with clarity becomes not just a strategy for time management, but a blueprint for living a life of purpose and success. The idea of incremental progress rests on the understanding that success is not achieved overnight. Rather, it is the result of consistent, small improvements that compound over time. In a world that often emphasizes overnight success or large, dramatic transformations, it can be easy to overlook the power of gradual progress. Yet it is precisely these small, seemingly insignificant steps that, when taken regularly, create the foundation for lasting achievement. The first thing to recognize about incremental progress is that it's not about perfection. It's about showing up consistently and doing just a little more today than you did yesterday. This concept may sound simple, but it requires a mindset shift, especially in a culture that prizes immediate results and quick fixes. The pursuit of incremental progress requires patience, discipline, and a willingness to trust that the small efforts will eventually pay off. One key benefit of focusing on incremental progress is that it makes big goals feel more achievable. Large, overwhelming tasks can create paralysis, leading to procrastination or avoidance. When we look at a monumental goal, it can feel insurmountable, leaving us unsure of where to begin or how to move forward. Breaking down the goal into smaller, manageable pieces, however, makes it much easier to start. Instead of trying to write an entire book in one sitting, for example, you commit to writing just a page or even a paragraph a day. Instead of focusing on losing 50 pounds, you focus on exercising for 20 minutes every day or cutting out one unhealthy food choice. These small steps don't feel as intimidating, and they give you a clear starting point. As you begin to make incremental progress, you build momentum. Each small success reinforces the idea that progress is possible, and with that, the drive to continue grows stronger. In fact, momentum is one of the greatest motivators in achieving long-term success. The more you build, the more confident and capable you feel, and the more motivated you become to keep going. Another important aspect of incremental progress is that it makes the process more sustainable. Trying to achieve a goal through an all-or-nothing approach, where you aim to accomplish everything at once or in large bursts, is often a recipe for burnout. Whether it's starting a new fitness regimen, launching a business, or learning a new skill, doing too much too soon can overwhelm you, leading to fatigue or frustration. By committing to small, manageable actions each day, you give yourself the space to grow at a sustainable pace. There is no need for drastic measures, only consistent effort. This sustainable approach reduces the pressure to perform perfectly and allows you to enjoy the journey rather than constantly worrying about how far you are from your goal. Incremental progress also allows for a higher degree of learning and refinement along the way. When you take small steps, you create regular opportunities for feedback and adjustment. With each iteration, you have the chance to evaluate what's working and what isn't. Maybe you realize that your approach to a task isn't as effective as you thought. Or perhaps you discover a better way of doing something. Because you're not jumping straight into large, high-stakes actions, you have room to experiment and adjust without the fear of failure. This iterative process is crucial for personal growth and mastery. One of the most powerful elements of incremental progress is that it helps to shift your focus from outcome-based thinking to process-based thinking. Rather than obsessing over the end result, you begin to appreciate the value of the daily work, regardless of immediate outcomes. This shift is liberating because you start to recognize that the small actions you take every day are building the person you want to become. Finally, the beauty of incremental progress is that it compounds. Over time, the sum of your small efforts leads to results that would have seemed impossible at the start. A little bit of progress every day adds up to significant changes over months or years. In the same way that saving a small amount of money each month leads to financial stability, dedicating yourself to small improvements in any area of life leads to long-term success. A singular event but a journey. It's the result of many small intentional steps taken over time. By focusing on small wins and building momentum through consistent effort, you transform what once seemed like an insurmountable challenge into a series of manageable, achievable tasks. And over time, those small steps will lead to profound, lasting change. Motivation is often seen as the driving force behind success. It's that initial burst of energy that propels you to start a new project, to commit to a goal, or to embark on a journey of self-improvement. It feels good in the moment, like a spark of excitement that promises progress. However, motivation is notoriously unreliable. It ebbs and flows, driven by external circumstances, emotional states, or fleeting inspiration. On the other hand, discipline is a far more consistent and powerful force. Unlike motivation, discipline is the ability to keep going when the excitement wanes and when obstacles arise. It's the quiet strength that pushes you forward when motivation is nowhere to be found. Cultivating discipline over motivation is essential for anyone who wants to achieve long-term success. The first step in developing discipline is understanding that it's not about relying on a feeling or an external source of inspiration to get things done. Discipline is an internal force, a commitment to yourself that you will act according to your values and goals, regardless of how you feel in the moment. It's a decision to do what needs to be done, even when it's difficult, tedious, or unpleasant. One of the most powerful aspects of discipline is that it operates independently of emotional states. While motivation may feel strong when you're in a good mood or inspired, it tends to vanish when challenges arise or when you're feeling tired or discouraged. Discipline, however, doesn't require you to be emotionally up in order to do the work. It simply requires that you show up and put in the effort. Regardless of how you feel, whether you're motivated or not, discipline allows you to keep moving forward one step at a time. To cultivate discipline, you must first establish clear goals. Without a purpose to work toward, it's easy to drift through life reacting to circumstances rather than taking intentional action. When you have specific goals in mind, goals that are meaningful to you, discipline becomes easier to develop because you have a clear reason to stay focused. You're not simply pushing yourself to get through the day or to meet someone else's expectations. You're working towards something that matters, something that aligns with your deepest values. Once you've defined your goals, the next step is to create a routine that supports those goals. A routine doesn't just keep you on track, it helps to wire discipline into your daily life. When you develop habits that align with your goals, you don't have to rely on motivation to get things done. Your routine becomes the structure that guides your actions, even on the days when motivation is lacking. Habits such as exercising in the morning, setting aside time to read, or dedicating specific hours for focused work all contribute to building the discipline needed to achieve your goal. In addition to establishing a routine, you must also learn to manage your distractions. Discipline is not just about doing the work. It's also about staying focused on the right tasks and avoiding temptations that derail your progress. The world is full of distractions, social media, entertainment, and other time wasters that seem harmless in the moment, but accumulate to steal hours from your day. To cultivate discipline, you need to create an environment that supports your goals. This might mean turning off notifications, setting boundaries with people, or finding a quiet place where you can focus. One of the greatest challenges in cultivating discipline is overcoming the resistance that arises when it's time to do the work. You may find yourself feeling lazy, overwhelmed, or simply unwilling to start. This is where discipline separates itself from motivation. Motivation may come and go, but discipline pushes through resistance. The key to overcoming this inertia is often simply starting. Once you begin a task, you'll often find that momentum takes over. The hardest part is not the work itself, but the decision to begin. Discipline is the practice of showing up and starting even when you don't feel like it. Another aspect of discipline is the ability to delay gratification. In a world that encourages instant results and immediate satisfaction, discipline requires you to resist the urge for quick rewards in favor of long-term success. This means prioritizing the tasks that will bring you closer to your goals, rather than indulging in distractions that offer immediate but fleeting pleasure. Delaying gratification is about seeing the bigger picture and understanding that the sacrifices you make now will pay off later. Finally, discipline involves accepting that setbacks and failures are part of the process. No journey is without obstacles, and there will be times when you stumble or face challenges that make it hard to stay on track. Discipline is not about being perfect, it's about getting back on track after a setback and continuing to move forward. It's the resilience to keep going even when things don't go as planned. Cultivating discipline over motivation is a commitment to long-term success. It's a mindset that says, I will act in accordance with my goals, regardless of how I feel. By developing the habits, routines, and resilience necessary to stay disciplined, you can achieve far more than you would relying solely on fleeting motivation. Discipline provides the foundation for consistent progress, and over time, that consistency adds up to monumental achievements. Reflection and adjustment are key components of any successful journey, yet they are often overlooked in the hustle and bustle of daily life. Too often, we move through our days with little thought to how we're progressing or whether we're still on course toward our goals. The temptation is to simply keep going, assuming that if we keep moving, we'll eventually get where we want to be. However, this mindset often leads to frustration, stagnation, or even failure. To truly grow and improve, it's crucial to make reflection and adjustment an ongoing part of your process. Reflection is the act of stepping back from the daily grind and taking a critical look at where you are, what you're doing, and how you're feeling. It's about gaining perspective on your actions, decisions, and results. Too often we are so consumed by the next task or goal that we fail to assess whether we are truly moving in the right direction. Regular reflection gives you the space to evaluate your progress, identify what's working, and pinpoint areas that need improvement. Without reflection, you risk continuing on a path that isn't serving you simply because you're too caught up in the momentum of life. The process of reflection starts by asking the right questions. Are you accomplishing what you set out to do? Are your actions aligned with your values and long-term goals? Do you feel fulfilled, or are you simply checking off tasks without a sense of purpose? These questions allow you to step outside the noise of daily life and evaluate things from a broader perspective. Reflection requires honesty, as it's easy to overlook areas where we might be falling short. However, the value of honest self-reflection cannot be overstated. It allows you to identify not only what you're doing right, but also where you might be wasting time, energy, or resources. One of the most valuable aspects of reflection is that it offers you the chance to learn. It's a time to examine your successes and failures, not just in isolation, but in the context of your overall journey. When you reflect on a task you completed or a goal you didn't quite reach, you can ask yourself what worked and what didn't. What strategies helped you move forward? What obstacles held you back? What could you do differently next time? These questions allow you to gain insights that will inform your future decisions. Every failure or setback is an opportunity to learn and refine your approach. However, reflection alone is not enough. It must be followed by adjustment. Once you have identified areas for improvement, it's important to make changes. Adjustments may be small, such as tweaking your routine or adjusting a goal, or they may be larger, such as reevaluating your overall strategy. Regardless of the scale of the change, the key is to take action. If you simply reflect without making adjustments, you risk falling into the trap of complacency. Reflection without action leads to stagnation. Reflection paired with thoughtful adjustment, on the other hand, accelerates progress and growth. The act of adjusting is a crucial part of staying on track and remaining flexible in the face of challenges. Life is unpredictable, and your goals or circumstances may change over time. What worked for you in the past may no longer be effective, or you might encounter new challenges that require a different approach. This is why regular reflection and adjustment are necessary. By routinely reassessing your progress and making necessary changes, you stay agile and responsive to shifting conditions. An important part of adjustment is the willingness to let go of things that no longer serve you. Often, we cling to habits, routines, or goals simply because they're familiar or because we've invested a lot of time and energy into them. However, sometimes the best course of action is to make a clean break and move in a new direction. This requires humility and the ability to recognize when something is no longer working. Adjusting your course isn't about giving up. It's about being strategic, adapting to the situation, and being willing to pivot when necessary. To make reflection and adjustment a regular part of your routine, it's helpful to set aside specific time for this practice. Whether it's at the end of each day, week, or month, make a habit of stepping back to review your progress. Use journaling, tracking tools, or simple self-assessments to capture your thoughts. During this time, review your goals and reflect on your actions. Make note of areas where you're succeeding and those where you're falling short. Then take concrete steps to adjust your approach and make improvements. Ultimately, reflection and adjustment are not just about fixing problems or making corrections. They're about continuous improvement. By regularly reflecting on your progress and adjusting your approach, you ensure that you are always moving toward greater effectiveness, fulfillment, and success. The process allows you to learn from both your successes and failures, refine your strategies, and make informed decisions. This cycle of reflection and adjustment keeps you on a path of growth and ensures that you are always evolving in the direction of your highest potential. Structuring your day is one of the most powerful ways to maximize productivity, reduce stress, and ensure that you are consistently moving toward your goals. Without a clear structure, days can feel chaotic and time can slip away without accomplishing anything meaningful. A well-structured day brings clarity, focus, and a sense of control. It allows you to make the most of your time by ensuring that your actions are aligned with your priorities. The first step in structuring your day is understanding what your priorities are. This requires a certain level of self-awareness and a clear sense of your values and goals. What are the things that matter most to you? What are the tasks or responsibilities that will move you closer to where you want to be? Once you have identified your priorities, you can structure your day to reflect them. This may mean allocating time for important work tasks, personal projects, or family commitments. It also means recognizing that not everything deserves equal attention and that some tasks can be deferred or delegated. To create structure, you must also be mindful of your energy levels throughout the day. Everyone has times when they feel most alert and productive, and times when they are naturally more sluggish or distracted. Pay attention to your own rhythms and design your day around them. For example, if you tend to have more mental clarity in the mornings, schedule your most important or challenging tasks during this time. If you find that your energy dips in the afternoon, allow for a break or a lighter task. Aligning your schedule with your natural energy flow makes it easier to maintain focus and to accomplish tasks efficiently. A structured day doesn't just mean cramming every minute with tasks, it also involves setting aside time for rest, reflection, and recreation. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that productivity is only about working harder or longer, but rest is an essential part of any well-structured day. Breaks allow you to recharge, reset, and come back to tasks with renewed energy and focus. Without proper breaks, you risk burnout and diminishing returns on your efforts. By incorporating regular pauses for relaxation or exercise, you ensure that you maintain a sustainable level of productivity over the long term. One effective way to structure your day is to use time blocking. Time blocking involves dividing your day into blocks of time dedicated to specific tasks or activities. For example, you might have a block in the morning for focused work, a block in the afternoon for meetings or collaborative tasks, and another block for exercise or personal time in the evening. The key is to ensure that each block is aligned with your priorities and energy levels. Time blocking not only provides clarity, but also helps you avoid the trap of multitasking or distraction. When you know exactly what you should be working on during each block, it's easier to stay focused and productive. Another crucial aspect of structuring your day is being intentional about your morning and evening routines. How you start and end your day has a significant impact on your overall productivity and mindset. A morning routine that sets a positive tone can help you approach the day with clarity and motivation. This could include activities such as exercise, journaling, or reading, or simply taking a few moments to plan your day. Similarly, an evening routine allows you to wind down, reflect on your day, and prepare for the next. A structured morning and evening routine creates a sense of consistency and stability, which in turn leads to greater productivity and mental well-being. It's also essential to leave room for flexibility in your schedule. While structure is important, life is unpredictable, and things won't always go as planned. Having a flexible mindset allows you to adapt and adjust without feeling overwhelmed. If a task takes longer than expected, or an unexpected opportunity or challenge arises, flexibility gives you the ability to adjust without disrupting your entire day. This balance between structure and flexibility is key to maintaining a sense of control without being overly rigid. One final aspect of structuring your day is the importance of setting clear boundaries. Without boundaries, it's easy to become distracted by other people's needs or by external demands. By setting clear limits around when you are available for meetings, calls, or other obligations, you can ensure that your time is used productively. Setting boundaries also means learning how to say no to requests or tasks that don't align with your priorities. This can be difficult, especially if you feel the pressure to please others, but saying no is an important aspect of staying focused on your goals. Ultimately, structuring your day is about creating a framework that allows you to be intentional with your time. It means being clear about your priorities, aligning your tasks with your natural energy levels, and incorporating breaks and rest. By structuring your day thoughtfully, you create an environment where productivity and well-being can thrive together. Rather than being reactive to the demands of the day, you become the architect of your time, shaping it in a way that moves you closer to your goals while maintaining balance and peace of mind. Through regular reflection and small adjustments, you can continue to refine your daily structure, making it an increasingly powerful tool for personal and professional success.